All right, welcome to the Cahoot and GeekSeller webinar, How to Conquer Q4 Fulfillment Challenges and Save Holiday Sales in 2021. We're happy that you've joined us today. This Q4 promises to be e-commerce biggest yet, but of course, everyone's facing challenges. Learning how to sell on new marketplaces, the lack of warehouse space, parcel carrier surcharges, and more all make it difficult to get the growth that you want and need, and to make it profitable growth. Today, we'll provide actionable tips on how to help you overcome these challenges and make this your best Q4 yet. Just a few housekeeping tips. We'll send a recording of the webinar afterwards, so no need to take super detailed notes. You don't need a camera or mic, just listen along. And please post your questions anytime during the presentation using the Q&A or chat functions. We have people like myself and also Rinaldi from Cahoot and Daniel from GeekSeller monitoring the chat. And so we will be collecting questions throughout, and that's often the best part of the webinar. Our co-hosts today are Manish Chowdhury, founder and CEO of Cahoot, and James Brazil, enterprise account manager for GeekSeller. Manish has over 20 years of experience in e-commerce, and prior to founding Cahoot, he founded and grew the award-winning order management system, Pulse Commerce. He's been featured in the New York Times, Entrepreneur Magazine, Digital Commerce 360, and more. And now he and others like myself and Rinaldi are growing Cahoot to solve fulfillment challenges today and in the future. James has over 10 years of experience in technology and e-commerce, and his focus at GeekSeller is fostering strong, lasting relationships with entrepreneurs to help them grow their businesses on multiple marketplaces. I'm Luke, and along with Rinaldi and Daniel, as I mentioned, we'll be monitoring for questions throughout. Today, we have 3 topics. First, James will provide insights into how sellers need to adapt to thrive on different marketplaces. They're not all the same. Next, Manish will detail what's different about this Q4 holiday season and wrap up with advice on how you deal with what's different and the new and existing challenges to have a blockbuster Q4. And so we'll jump right into it. James, take it away.
Thank you, Luke, for that introduction. I'm James with GeekSeller, like Luke was saying, and today we'll be presenting how to optimize your sales across multiple marketplaces. And Manish, if you could go ahead and go more into that. According to Shopify, there's a direct correlation between multi-channel marketing and selling with revenue. Each added channel increases revenue by, on average, 38%, 120%, and 190%. Some, if not all of you know by now, deciding to take the plunge into multi-channel selling and actually succeeding on different marketplaces with different customers is a different story. Let's take a look at how to succeed on many of the other major marketplaces and how do you win on them. The best way to increase revenue with Walmart is to learn how to accurately create and manage shipping templates. With shipping templates, you can customize your setup based on your fulfillment network, change shipping prices or shipping time at the individual item level based on the item size, weight, or location, and most importantly, match your delivery promise with the actual delivery time. Merchants that qualify for the top-rated seller program on eBay earn huge rewards. enhanced visibility, top rated plus seal on listing, and a refund and return label protection. To qualify for the top rated seller badge, you need to keep deficits below 0.5%, respond quickly to customer complaints, keeping a late shipping rate below 3%, and maintain a handling and carrier validation process above 95%. Product merchandising on Etsy is much less transactional and much more inspirational than it is on other marketplaces. Compare these Etsy photos to the typical Amazon listing, where Amazon, the product is often displayed on a white background to focus entirely on what's being sold. Etsy sellers situate their products in environments that curate a look or feel that they want to import. On Etsy, you're just selling a product, you're selling the experience of using the product and helping the shopper imagine that experience. Google Shopping is a low-cost channel to boost visibility. You'll need a website to take full advantage because, as you can see in the example here, Google will push shoppers straight to your site where you can build brand loyalty while not paying any merchant fees.
Thank you, James. This is again Manish Chaudhry with Cahoot. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Really appreciate your time. Please put those questions into your Q&A box, and we'd love to get to them towards the end of the presentation. And a question that I may have for you guys, James and Daniel, towards the end of the presentation would be, why are not more people taking advantage of this Google Shopping, since it is free and most folks do have a website. So I'd love to get your thoughts on Google Shopping, because I'm curious myself. But regardless of the sales channel, as you've seen, there are about now 1,000+ niche marketplaces worldwide, and the number is growing because you look around, everybody wants to build a marketplace. Of course, Amazon and Walmart being the bellwethers. And what is consistent, regardless of the different strategies and tactics you do need to employ in order to win on each of these sales channels, because they do target a slightly different audience, and there's some clever strategies and tactics that are required in order to reach those audience. One thing is quite clear, that you do need to offer free and fast shipping across all channels. And as most of you in the audience are maybe already familiar with the very popular Amazon Prime program, which offered 2-day free shipping, Amazon over the last 3 years has been gradually shifting that Prime program to 1-day free shipping. In fact, even before COVID in 2019, 1/3 of all Amazon holiday sales or holiday orders were delivered in 1 day or less. I'm sure y'all have seen the Amazon Prime vans, moving around in your neighborhood. This is all Amazon's strategy and plan to move from 2-day to 1 day. And Walmart, has also very quickly embraced that, because in order to keep pace with Amazon, you have to offer the same level of service and convenience. And Walmart too is now moving aggressively in offering 1-day free shipping. 2-day free shipping, as you can see, is now is becoming more or less table stakes. In order to compete and win, to get visibility, so even to get visibility, you need to offer free shipping. Otherwise, your offer will not be shown, and if it doesn't get shown, then of course you are not going to convert that. So this is a big deal. The data suggests that if you're not offering 1-day and 2-day free shipping, you are probably losing out on 44% of the total e-commerce market in the US. And the impact of this is clear. 50% sales lift on Amazon, 40% sales lift on Walmart. And by the way, I believe those numbers are conservative. I've seen personally lift as high as 400% in many cases. Of course, it varies by product and category. However, it is clear that you are going to get higher search ranking, you're going to get more impressions, you're going to convert more customers, you're going to get a higher return on your advertising cost if you offer free and fast shipping. One thing, folks, is very clear is that this holiday season is not going to be like the last. And I know that you hear this every holiday. However, there are many, many reasons why Q4 of 2021 is not going to be the same. And let me share some facts here. One of the big challenges we are going to face is fulfillment. Carriers are facing massive capacity crunch. In fact, there was an article in Wall Street Journal just this past Sunday where carriers are facing capacity crunch to the tune of 5 million packages a day. That's just in the US alone, 5 million packages a day that they don't have capacity for. And if you multiply that by the number of shopping days, you can imagine what's going to happen. And in the Northeast, in particular, with the storms and bad weather, if carriers are not able to deliver and their hubs get choked, you can only expect things to get really bad. So what that's going to lead to is packages are going to be delivered late. I'm going to cover that in just a little bit. So please stick around, put your questions in. The second big change is going to be holiday selling period is shifting earlier. I've spoken with large agencies. These agencies are the top agencies in the US that are working with the largest of brands and sellers on marketplaces. And they are advising their clients to start putting their promotion and their holiday advertising and deals as early as October, not even late October. They're suggesting early mid-October. That's when the holidays deals are going to start flying. And there's also a rumor that Amazon might even do a second Prime Day. Of course, those are rumors. We cannot validate them, but it is suffice to say that holiday selling period is going to be earlier, a lot earlier. So you don't want to hang on to that inventory late into the game. Carriers cannot pick them up. They cannot deliver on time. And even if the products are delivered late, then that will end up in returns. The biggest challenge, especially for the marketplace sellers, the ones that are operating on Amazon, is this Amazon restock limits. The folks that have relied on FBA for all their fulfillment over the years are facing massive restock limits and constraints. And those limits are not being lifted, and a lot of sellers are waiting and watching and hoping that Amazon is going to provide some reprieve and is going to relax some of those restock limits. However, everything that we've seen and speaking with sellers on a regular basis, we are not seeing any such accommodation being made. If anything, Amazon FBA is bursting at the seams, and it would be prudent to be aware of this and take proactive action. Shipping cost. This is, of course, you all are very familiar with. However, what is important to note here is that shipping costs that continue to go up year over year. They call it the GRI, or general rate increase. Those are stuff that we hear about in January. However, this year, all the carriers are imposing surcharges. These are surcharges on your ground delivery, the FedEx Ground, FedEx Home Delivery, UPS Ground, and you can see the numbers. $150 from November 1. I mean, if you were to ask a few years ago, is November 1 the holiday season? No, people would start their holiday shopping on or around Thanksgiving and then go into, mid-December, late December. However, now these surcharges is just an indication of shifting holiday selling period. $3 surcharge from November 29 to December 12. So imagine if a package was going to cost you $7, $8 and you add $3, now that's almost 30-40% increase, and combined with that, late delivery, which I'll cover in just a moment. an additional surcharge if you have oversized items or if you are a high volume shipper. So if you ship a lot, you would typically expect a discount and you would expect some special accommodation from the carriers. Not this year, folks. You're going to the carriers are going to cap you. They're not going to pick up more than X number of packages. And if you try to send them significantly more packages than what is expected to be received from your location, they might refuse it, or you will see a hefty bill and hefty invoice that you'll have to pay. And UPS is no different than FedEx, same kind of surcharges. But what is unique is USPS. For the first time in history, USPS has also introduced surcharges. So pretty much across the board, surcharges, which means you got to factor in the shipping costs. So if you have not factored them in, you want to factor them in and come up with your pricing strategy accordingly. Not only are we going to pay more, but the packages will be delivered late. And I use the word will be because I am 98% certain that that is going to happen, just because there's a huge capacity crunch. And the carriers just do not have the capacity to process the number of packages. And if anything were to go wrong, and these numbers are, of course, from last year. And last year, we had a relatively mild weather, a mild winter in the Northeast. There weren't too many storms. And in spite of that, as you can see, the on-time shipping rate or on-time delivery rate of FedEx hovering around 69 to 76%. UPS, a little bit better. These numbers used to be in the late 90s, for FedEx and UPS. And USPS is, of course, unfortunately, the least reliable carrier with lots of delays. So you want to factor that in, because if the packages are going to be delivered late, you're going to get a lot of customer inquiries that you have to field. And if you're not responding to customers proactively and on time, it will lead to returns, bad reviews, lower sales rank. So it just has such a multiplier effect on your brand and your product and sales that this is something that you need to be very well aware of. And especially if you have these gifting items, you need to be well aware and ready and have a plan in advance to deal with these delays, which will happen. This is just some data to prove that holiday shopping season is shifting ahead. That means people are going to be shopping a lot earlier. Of course, this data is from 2020, which was last year. Percentage of people that were pretty much, finished with some of their shopping early, about 60% of, and a lot of people have completed their holiday shopping by November, almost one quarter, 26%. So I would easily add about 10 percentage points to this, because consumers are very comfortable shopping online. Even the folks that were not previously shopping online have been retrained in the COVID era to do that online. And so it's something to keep in mind as you're planning your holiday calendar, your promotion calendar, your sourcing, and all that good stuff, that shopping is going to be happening a lot earlier. FBA limits. These are just some comments from news groups that we've gathered for you. You can, of course, go and check them out yourself for the latest ones. But even as early as yesterday, sellers are complaining that FBA limits have been reduced without explanation. And the fundamental reason for this is Amazon has signed up a record number of sellers for the very first time, because due to COVID, a lot of new folks have entered the online selling game, and they need space. Amazon cannot just cannot sign up a seller and not give them any space in FBA, because that's what they rely on to move their inventory, to fulfill their orders. So as a result of this massive influx of new sellers, Amazon is having a tough time providing space for their existing sellers, because it has to be now shared with several 100,000 new sellers. So I don't expect any massive changes to this anytime soon. So it's not, this FBA problem is not just a Q4 problem. It is a problem going forward, at least for the next 12 months, perhaps longer. So you need to think about that as you're thinking about coming up with an alternate strategy. Now some tips on how to overcome these challenges, because we understand that there are several impediments. However, early bird catches the worm. So you want to think about product sourcing. I'm sure many of you have already placed your purchase orders. You've got your products in, or it's in the process of being received. And I'm sure many of the folks in the audience are also deeply familiar with the ocean freight challenge. The ports are congested. It's costing significantly more to bring products from overseas. The cost of containers have gone up as high as 400% for bringing products from China, from Vietnam, from all these other places, and also transporting those goods from the port to inland and other places. So please be prepared. Have your product. It's going to take significantly longer to move those items. Even if you were to place them in FBA, you don't want to wait. Keep hearing about receiving delays and in FBA fulfillment centers. So you want to get your products in early so that you don't have a problem or run into an out of stock situation in FBA. Multiple fulfillment options. I'm going to cover that in a little bit. You need to have backup. You cannot rely exclusively on FBA or any one fulfillment strategy. And it would be prudent to have alternate fulfillment lined up. Optimize your listings. This is basically, I don't know, James, if you were going to talk about some of this stuff or I took your slide.
No, it's fine. My slide actually just dovetails nicely into what you said.
Okay. Perhaps you can cover some more. I think optimizing the listings is very important. Because it's a competitive environment out there. So your products are competing against many others. And as we know that now, in order to succeed, even on Amazon, you need to spend advertising dollars. So if you're going to spend advertising dollars, you want those offers to convert, those listings to convert. So take all the best practices about the images, the content, and so on, and then promotions. And special campaigns, anything that you're doing in terms of promotion, you want to plan that, have that all set up and ready to go. I would say as early as October. I wouldn't even wait until early November. Of course, you want to have staged campaigns, so it's not that everything is on one date. You can see the results, and if things are going well, you might as well sell out early than to be holding any inventory, which you're paying exorbitant storage fees in FBA if you're using FBA. Backup fulfillment and storage. This is very crucial for the sellers, that you want to have a backup fulfillment plan, place to store your inventory, because of the limited FBA storage available. You have to replenish FBA more frequently, and you cannot send as much inventory as you used to. So you need to have a reliable storage location that can replenish that inventory periodically, and also having redundancy, because if your FBA listing is out of stock, you want to be able to easily and quickly convert that into an FBM listing and keep selling. Because the challenge with an out of stock situation is if your product goes out of stock, your IPI goes down with it, and therefore it becomes very challenging to regain the position, the sales rank that you had prior to going out of stock. So it is just it compounds the problem, because it's not just about that you can pick up where you left off when your inventory gets back in stock. That on Amazon, it doesn't quite work that way. I mean, and we have a full webinar on this topic. So if you're interested, please reach out to us, or you can go on Cahoot.ai, the website, and you can get access to this information on how to improve your IPI score, how to manage against the limits, how can you maximize your FBA storage. So we've got some great information for you there. And in terms of alternate fulfillment solutions for Q4, and not just for Q4, honestly, it is something that sellers should have throughout the year, because you're selling on multiple channels, and even though Amazon FBA is a great solution in many cases, it's not the ideal solution for all cases and all channels. As many of you know, Walmart does not allow you to fulfill your orders from FBA. Until recently, Amazon used to send all their packages in Amazon Prime branded boxes. So if a customer buys a product on Walmart, Walmart certainly doesn't want that product to arrive in an Amazon box. So they have forbidden that. It's against the policy, and eBay has something similar. So it's just a good idea to have fulfilled by merchant, whether it's your own warehouse, if you have the operations and the fulfillment capabilities, or you can leverage 3PL or a 3PL network such as Cahoot, which has access to many, many locations throughout the US. And it is crucial to protect your IPI, which is your inventory performance index, because once your product goes out of stock, it has significant challenges, because it will hurt your IPI score, which then hurts your restock limit, and it just compounds the problem. So you should definitely have, I would even advise that for all your top SKUs, you want to have FBM listings ready to go, tested, verified. This way, when you do need to turn or toggle from FBA to FBM, it is a very simple operation, and you're not trying to do something at the last minute. Seller Fulfill Prime, this is a great option for Amazon sellers whose account has been approved for this program. This program is basically allows the seller to gain access to Amazon Prime shoppers. There are over 130 million shoppers in the US that are Prime members. And if, as a Prime member, when I log into Amazon, I'm going to see Prime offers before I see non-Prime. So if you cannot be an FBA, FBA, of course, gets you the Prime badge. And if your account is approved for Seller Fulfill Prime, you should be taking advantage of that. And however, to meet the Seller Fulfill Prime metrics, speed metrics, the delivery metrics is very, very demanding. You would need at least 4 to 6 warehouses strategically located in the US in order to meet those guidelines that Amazon has, because Amazon wants their Prime shoppers to have an outstanding delivery experience similar to FBA. So this, of course, you have no limits such as the FBA limit if you can work with Seller Fulfill Prime. And network like Cahoot specializes in Seller Fulfill Prime. So if you have a need for that, please reach out. Love to talk with you. And then other strategy is enabling resellers and dropship. Resellers are folks typically that are authorized to sell your products, that they have been approved by you. So if they have a separate Amazon account, so they may have separate limits. They would have separate limits compared to your account. So if your account has, this basically spreading the risk, and you will get the sale indirectly through the reseller if they are upholding all your other brand requirements that you have. So it's a good idea to enable resellers. And dropship, this can be tricky, especially on Amazon. Certainly not advisable if you're doing Seller Fulfill Prime. But if you don't have the ability to fulfill the orders yourself, you can send the order directly to a supplier or manufacturer or distributor, and they can fulfill it for you. As long as the technology is tight and the integration is solid, this may be a strategy that you may wish to employ. I'm going to turn this back to James for some comments on how to optimize listings and also FBA. So back to you, James.
Thanks for that information, Manish. It certainly paints a picture for this upcoming holiday season, and it also aligns with something that we've noticed over the past year as well, the importance of diversification in your fulfillment network. FBA is a very popular fulfillment channel, but like with anything, having all your eggs in one basket, as Manish pointed out, can end up costing your business money. Using Cahoot in tandem with GeekSeller's platform not only allows you to use Cahoot inventory to fulfill all of your e-commerce orders, but also allows you to automatically sync quantity across all connected marketplaces. Within GeekSeller, you're able to manage your entire e-commerce business. You'll be able to see all orders, auto-acknowledge orders, input tracking, purchase labels, tags, notes, and a sophisticated order routing and automation system. With the Cahoot integration, orders are automatically submitted to Cahoot and tracking is then returned to the originating marketplace. GeekSeller automatically manages your quantity across all connected marketplaces. And the beauty is with the Cahoot integration, your inventory is automatically downloaded from their warehouse network and sent out to all connected marketplaces. So you do not need to manually ensure quantity is correct, or that when a sale happens, you don't have to worry about manually updating quantity across individual channels. And back to you, Manish, to finish the webinar and give some more information.
Thank you. We're just, we'll have plenty of time for Q&A, folks. So if you have any questions, you have us for next several minutes. Just by way of introduction, what Cahoot is a order fulfillment network with industry's highest fulfillment standards. That is how we are able to provide a solution for Seller Fulfilled Prime, which has the most demanding requirements with respect to on-time shipping, has to be 99.5% or more. You need to provide nationwide 1-day, 2-day coverage. You also need to fulfill orders 6 to 7 days a week. And Cahoot has been doing that successfully for several clients. And we use our fulfillment partners have some of the industry's best track record of getting orders out on time and accurately. And unlike FBA and some of our other competitors, we do not impose Q4 surcharges. I know several popular 3PL networks, they charge quite a bit more in Q4 and their service levels degrade. I'm happy to say that that hasn't happened on Cahoot. And I'm hoping that we will continue to maintain those great standards that my team very much pays a lot of attention to. And finally, it is fast and easy to set up. I know that sellers are looking for a solution and they're looking to get set up fast because Q4 in many ways is already here. Just looking at the industry changes. So we built best-in-class technology. We have a 5-star rated app on Amazon. So some of the most outstanding Amazon integration, other integrations with folks like GeekSeller, very solid integration. And through GeekSeller, you can enable just about any channel you can imagine, and orders can come in and reliably be fulfilled and tracking information sent back to the marketplaces. So encourage you to reach out to us if you have any questions and would like any additional information. And just to summarize our webinar, and then we'll open it up for Q&A, is maximize sales across marketplaces. Selling on more than one channel has a direct correlation in sales. So if you're selling on 1, 2, or 3 more additional channels, now's the time to take advantage of that. Each sales channel does require a special strategy to succeed. So be aware of that. Employ those strategies to take advantage of those specific nuances for each marketplace to maximize your conversion. However, remember that free and fast shipping works just about across all channels and all marketplaces. So once you put a solution like that in place, it will benefit you on all channels, and combined with higher sales through multi-channel, you can really make an impact on your business. Q4 is going to be a challenging environment. Carrier delays are to be expected. Holiday shopping is going to begin early. Amazon FBA limits are going to be will continue to be strained. I don't expect any major relief anytime soon. So be prepared, have a backup, or have more than one backup, and be ready. I would say be ready by October, even though the slide says early November. I would change that to be sometime early October is when I'd be ready. And certainly don't rely on any one solution. You know, it is especially fulfillment because COVID, a warehouse can shut down. But a lot of things can go wrong, and flood, it could be adverse weather. You don't want to stop selling at any time. You need to have redundancy. And take advantage of solutions like GeekSeller that will help you across marketplaces and Cahoot and free and fast shipping. It really helps with conversion. I think that's all we have in terms of content. I'm going to turn this back to you, Luke, for Q&A.
Yeah, thank you, Manish and James. We appreciate the advice. We have a few questions coming in here. First, we have a bunch of detail for Cahoot. I have a couple, Manish, that I'll try to combine here. The first one is about Cahoot and FBA. And the question is, can a seller do a combination of FBA, Walmart fulfillment services, their own fulfillment, and Cahoot? And then is Cahoot competitively priced with those other solutions?
Well, Luke, I think I'm going to take that one about because that would have to deal with order routing and things like that. Within GeekSeller,
yeah, sorry.
Within GeekSeller, we can certainly set up FBA, WFS, other 3PLs, your own fulfillment as in addition to Cahoot. You would just need to let us know how you would like quantity to go to which marketplace fulfills what, or you can have all marketplaces fulfilled by every inventory based on where it's actually available. And that's actually something we can set up with automation rules. So if you could go just to our website, geekseller.com, feel free to open up a live chat with one of our agents, and they'd be happy to explain to you more about the process.
Manish, can you speak to the fulfillment side?
Yes, thank you, James. That was very insightful. Yeah, I mean, Cahoot fees are very reasonable. I mean, Cahoot is very affordable, you know, across all channels. So I encourage you to reach out with the specifics. You know, we don't have Q4 surcharges. I mean, Amazon, even the storage fees right now in Q4 for Amazon FBA can be very, very steep. So yes, please reach out with the specifics. Happy to provide you with quotes, but suffice to say that Cahoot is very affordably priced.
And then a few more on the Cahoot side of things. Is it possible for a seller to avoid a certain state like California in distribution?
Well, I mean, you can avoid placing your inventory in California if that's what the seller wishes to do. However, they certainly cannot avoid shoppers from buying from Amazon or Walmart. So if the answer question is if they don't wish to place their inventory in California, at least Cahoot can accommodate that, yes.
Mm-hmm. Then I have one more that I'll take on Cahoot. The question was, could Cahoot handle things like lithium batteries? And I'd urge the questioner to reach out to us to go into more detail. But I know we actually do have a few battery clients that we handle with different types of batteries. And so that is something we actually already do. I would encourage you to reach out to go into details because I know there are a lot of different classes and types that require different, sometimes require different treatment. James, I saw you marked another question that you'd like to answer live.
Yeah, I think that also Cahoot could probably answer that. But on GeekSeller side, What we would do is we could, what's very typical is that eBay says a seller can't sell over 1,000 items a month or 1,000 of a certain SKU. Within Cahoot, within GeekSeller, what we would do is we would just institute what we call a quantity rule, which would send out a steady quantity to the marketplace, irregardless of what is actually available. So we would send a quantity of 5 to eBay, as long as the quantity within the node, which is what we would call your fulfillment channel, is above 5. So you don't have to worry about that, but that might also be for Cahoot, as in you can only store a certain amount of SKUs based on.
Sure. Why doesn't Manish take that? I'll rephrase it a bit. How about, are there quantity limits on how much inventory that you can send Cahoot, right? You were talking about the FBA inventory limits. How does Cahoot handle that same question?
Right. I mean, Cahoot doesn't have any hardcore limits. However, Cahoot is not designed to be a long-term storage location either. So treat Cahoot in a similar fashion as FBA, but we'll encourage you to reach out. I mean, there's a lot of, if you need simply storage, then we can find a solution for that. But we don't have any hardcore limits like FBA.
And one more for GeekSeller. James, going back to the beginning of the presentation, you talked about Walmart shipping templates. Most sellers who say do their business on Amazon are comfortable with what is and isn't possible for shipping on Amazon. How is Walmart different?
Well, with shipping templates, I'm not that deep into how to handle shipping on FBA, but with shipping templates, what you can do is, I believe we've talked about this in a previous webinar, where if an item is too bulky to ship, you can charge a separate shipping weight on the individual SKU level instead of packaging it together or having to offer free shipping. You can also offer things like extended shipping delivery times. So you could put like 2-3 days and still have other shipping templates set up for other SKUs or entire warehouses where you could have different shipping templates set up. So they're very powerful, and they're a lot better than the old way that Walmart had shipping set up, which was just shipping overrides.
Interesting, thanks. All right, looks like the questions coming down have slowed down a bit. I think we actually have one more that just popped up. We still have time to make last minute, or do we still have time to make last minute arrangements for warehouse? When do you recommend to be totally done with inbounds and have items live to capture in Q4? And how quickly can you guys help with that?
Well, I mean, my recommendation is, Amazon is going to release the Q4 limits for sellers any day, perhaps as late as first week of October, and that's when the frenzy is going to start. So there is a massive amount of shortage for warehouse space, fulfillment labor. So the longer you wait, expect to pay more. And that's not about Cahoot. It's not about a 3PL. It is purely a supply and demand situation where, folks with pre-existing contracts and agreements and relationships will, of course, get a better deal. So I would advise that don't wait. I mean, now is the time. Everything, you should get your inbounds in September, if possible, but certainly no later than early October, mid-October. There are also blackout periods. Most 3PL networks, including FBA, will have blackout period where they will not receive anything. They are just exclusively focused on fulfilling orders. So whether you're looking at Cahoot or looking at any other solution out there, it is just important to recognize that everybody is under pressure. So waiting till the last minute is not going to be prudent, in my opinion.
Thanks, Manish. And we actually got one last one, or actually two more while you're answering. On that topic, what is the turnaround time for Cahoot receiving? FBA taking up to 3 weeks and then not checking. So I mean, I feel really badly for this question answer, but they have to wait up to 2 months for the investigation. Are we going to see something similar with Cahoot?
No, Cahoot receiving times are perhaps the best in the industry. I mean, we typically receive inventory within 2 to 3 business days from the time they are delivered in our warehouses. But of course, if you were to ask that question in mid-November, it will take longer because that's not the time our warehouses are focused on receiving. So typically, a couple of days, and that's something that our sellers really like about Cahoot.
That's great. And we have one last one for GeekSeller. Do you set up shipping within GeekSeller to match the sellers' marketplaces?
We don't do it proactively, but if you come by chat and you say that you would like this set up for this item or for all of my items, we can definitely help you get that shipping template set up. It is fairly new, and our agents have set up dozens or if not hundreds by now. So we're fairly comfortable. If you have questions, we'll be able to help you out.
Great. That's all we've got. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Manish and James, for your thoughts today. And we really appreciate all the great questions we got. Again, please reach out to Cahoot, reach out to GeekSeller. If your Q4 is the biggest time of the year, and as our panelists mentioned, there's a lot of challenges, but you also have solutions to make sure that you have the tools you need to grow and not be blocked by things like Amazon's inventory limits or carrier surcharges. So please do reach out to us and explore how we can help you grow. And thanks for joining. Take care.